Welcome to the Barker Podcast Collection.
Welcome to the Not Watching Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and today I'm joined by
Marcus Hurley.
So the original hope, I think, was to talk about some movies that have come out, but there haven't been any.
No.
We're now in a second lockdown. The cinemas are shut, although they are supposed to be reopening next week.
Well, they've got no choice, really, I don't think.
Well, yeah. It's either that or they go into administration. And Warner Brothers are being good sports and releasing Wonder Woman 1984 finally.
Nice.
That all seems to be going ahead. They're getting a day and date video on demand release in the States, but as far as I'm aware, in the UK it's just going to be in whatever cinemas are open on the 16th of December. So
nice.
That's all that's really happening.
Yeah.
And there's been a few movies here and there on Netflix, and there was the Borat movie, which was alright, I guess, quite topical. But I think really the bread and butter really is on the streaming shows, it's TV really. That's all that's been going on, really. Yeah. And probably the most notable of these is the return of the Mandalorian on Disney Plus, which I have been watching. You're stashing this one up, aren't you, Marcus?
It was out, and I thought I was going to... Sorry, I'm really close to my mic. It's up my nose. I'm really close.
Right.
I was really hoping to kind of just get on it and watch more, and then watch the previous season to catch up. But, as Jeff Goldblum would say, life finds a way. So I think I'm probably about a week or so away from doing a Mandalorian binge. So I've been avoiding the internet as much as I can, not Googling anything Star Wars related. And if I see like some shiny armour coming up, I'm literally looking the other way. But because I figured there's a statute on spoilers, and people don't care after a little bit.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, I'll be vague anyway. I don't want to spoil it for any of our listeners anyway. So, and of course, I don't want to spoil it for you most of all.
Oh, bless you.
But yes, we're halfway through this second season now, and while there is very much a sort of through line, like an objective involved that he's trying to accomplish, it's also quite meandering. You know, after all, it's not going to be an easy task what he's trying to do. And so it's really been led by the sort of side stories and adventures that he's been getting into along the way. The first episode is a quite long, almost double-length episode, about an hour long.
Oh, wow.
Taking place in a familiar location, and with some really cool guest stars who might have some items that are very recognisable. But yeah, they really spent out on this one. The visuals are all like massively in your face. And it is throughout. I mean, you know, there's X-Wing chases and various kind of action sequences that just don't really look like TV in the slightest.
Oh, wicked.
So, plenty to look forward to. And probably most remarkable of all is they seem to be making a clear effort to tie this into the wider Star Wars universe, specifically the more animated side of it.
Oh, okay.
So expect to see some people.
Are we talking Clone Wars or Rebels?
Both.
Oh, wow. Dude.
Yeah.
I was already all over this, but I really loved Rebels.
Yeah.
That was...
What's so neat, though, is that they've managed to, in one case, at least, so far, to get the actual actor who voiced a certain character to reprise that role in live action.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
See, I don't get it. How can a Mandalorian be like 1000% Star Wars, but Star Wars seems to be struggling to be Star Wars? this feels like this has absorbed all of the Star Wars in the universe and just distilled it. And every episode, even though it's kind of almost like a space western, but then you think that's what Star Wars kind of was, with its desert planets and.
It's kind of gone full circle.
Yeah.
Like, because Star Wars itself was kind of inspired by these episodic sort of space or western shows, that was Saturday morning pictures sort of thing, where you tune in every week or go to the cinema every week and get a little instalment.
Yeah.
And it's just gone full circle. And I think they've purposefully gone for that. And that's why it works really well, because I know what you mean. A lot of shows I will hold off and wait to build up. Like I'm doing that for Star Trek Discovery at the moment.
Yeah, same here.
And I'm doing it for a couple of other things. But for this, I think this works specifically well in a weekly situation, because I just love the idea of looking forward to more Star Wars next week.
Yeah. True.
I've been getting up every Friday morning. Like my alarm doesn't have to get me up because I know that it's Mandalorian. It's going to be there.
Nice.
So I have it. It's quite often like I watch it in a sort of with my breakfast.
You get that Saturday morning cartoon feeling when you're a kid. It's like
kind of.
Even though I don't have to do this, it's like my fix is there.
Yeah. I just can't wait till Saturday though.
Well, look, it's like it's like when we used to watch it. We did watch them and. We just found that we were watching even the credits, like in the first season, because you had a really cool art boards that followed the story. And it was like, even they were kind of like a piece of theatre, and you kind of just find yourself absorbing as much of it as you can and not wanting to just skip to the next one. Because it was just like,
absolutely.
Everything about it was just so much fun. I mean, I've not gone into the making of bits and pieces because I kind of want the magic of the actual show to last a bit more before you do the whole how they did this and that. But it does fill me with a kind of, I feel as though I'm watching Star Wars when I was little and playing with Lego.
Yeah.
And looking up and wondering how are they going to get out of that trash compactor. And it's just, it's a great, great show. And I'm hats off to them for keeping it sort of episodic and say half hour or however long each episode is. And just the feel of it.
Yeah, they definitely don't. The episodes only ever feel as long as they need to. There's no fat on them whatsoever. No. I think Jon Favreau's actually written every single episode this season.
Wow.
But they've got some returning directors and some new ones. I think Carl Weathers did last week's.
Good Lord.
Yeah, which was quite cool. But yeah, no, that's The Mandalorian. It's definitely well up there for me, personally.
Yeah, I'm renewing my Disney Plus subscription, or doing a trial. Because I did a trial and then I ended it because I, as much as I wanted to relive all the old X-Men comics, cartoons and stuff like that, I just found I wasn't having the time for it. And then we were moving and stuff, so I just kind of ended it and didn't renew it because I thought, well, I'll come back to it. There was lots on Netflix and everything else, and we've got Amazon Prime as well at the moment. So, but. Definitely we're going to redo it over Christmas because it's Christmas, season of indulgence.
I mean, that's the thing. I'm just going to segue a bit here, but basically, you said it there with having all these extra services. I've had a week off this week, and I noticed that on PlayStation the Apple TV Plus app is on there.
They knew you were off.
It's quite. Yeah, I mean, it's not... Yeah, it's on PlayStation 4 and 5, but it's on there, and it's only $5, but I was waiting for a few things to stack up on there before I went for it. And I'm probably only going to have it for a month, because I don't... Well, although there is a sci-fi thing launching in the new year, but we'll have to... wait to see what the reviews are like. Foundation, I think it's called. It's based on these books. And apparently... I haven't even watched the trailer, but everyone was raving about it.
Okay.
But so I got Apple TV Plus, and I got it because I'd heard some great things about the show Ted Lasso. Basically, it's Jason Sudeikis, and he kind of created this persona on NBC Sports of just this kind of jock sort of American football manager But in this show, he's basically come to England to manage a Premier League football team.
Oh, good God! Yeah,
yeah. They're called Richmond, AFC Richmond. They're made up,
okay,
but they're loosely based on Crystal Palace. And apparently, I think they shot a lot of the stuff at Crystal Palace ground and used their football ground as like the sets and stuff. And a lot of it's shot all around Richmond, and some of it's in Islington. I think I've noticed Camden Passage.
Okay,
he's walking up and down all the time. I was trying to find the pub that they go in as well, but it's like, I don't know, but they must have redressed one or something.
Yeah,
because I cannot find it.
Sometimes you get exterior and interior shots that don't match up as well and stuff. So it's all sorts of bonkersness. I mean, this is what annoys series whenever you watch stuff, because I then try to figure out, well, where are they in London? And then I spend a while and I kind of go, oh, that's a bit weird. That's not there. That looks like... And then she knows I'm doing it, and she kind of goes like, You're doing it again. You're doing the London knowledge thing.
Yeah, it didn't take me too long. I knew it was Islington because I noticed when they were walking down the high street that sort of triangular green.
Okay,
but
and then might be the Hope and Anchor.
No, it's the Crown and Anchor they call it on there. Maybe they've CGI'd it.
Maybe it is the Hope and there is a pub called the Hope and Anchor, which has a downstairs gig place. I think last time I was there, it was all sort of teal green and been repainted. But it's like a really famous Islington pub. It's not far from Union Chapel, where a lot of gigs played as well.
Yeah,
and if you
I don't know if it is
go
that
down
one.
from Upper Street at the Green and you hit the other end, it's sort of near there. So, you could always jump and film in and stuff, but...
Yeah, the interior looks quite similar, but I don't know if it's the one. But anyway, So, but it's really it's really quite a sweet show. I just finished watching an episode of it. It's really good. But the kind of twist is, you think like, well, why is he like doing a Premier League football team? Because he obviously knows nothing about it, and that's kind of a gag. But the twist of it is basically the owner of the football club has done the dirty on his wife. She's bought the club off him and is part of like divorce proceedings or something. And she's hired him because she wants to drive it into the ground.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So she's done it out of spite, effectively. And this is all set up in like the first 5 minutes of the pilot episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's quite good. Like some of the players got some funny characters there, a few sort of like prima donnas, some that are like stupidly angry. There's like the ball boy guy who's like, just like, they all treat like shit, but the coach actually listens to because he feels on a level like he has so little knowledge. But yeah, no, it's pretty cool. I'm just over halfway through it, and it's got a real sort of sweet tone to it. Which I've found really valuable in these difficult times.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that alone, I think they've done season 2's in the can, and they're doing another. It's been renewed for 2 more after that. So this is going to be a going concern on Apple TV Plus.
Oh, nice. Well, I've got a show if you want to talk about characters and sort of like people that might be slightly doofus. I did catch James May's show on Prime. Man in Japan.
I was quite tempted.
It's really good. Because
he's got the other one. He's got a cooking one on
there I've seen that come up. Oh, Cook. Yeah. Sort of based on his... but the Japan one was actually really good. I think it was filmed off the back of last year. Because obviously none of the COVID stuff is there. But he literally starts at the top of... in Hokkaido, the northern island, and goes all the way down. And kind of dips in and out and stuff. So it's not really a atypical Japanese touristy show sort of thing. But he does like... Apparently they've got like in northern Hokkaido, which is kind of like the farming community place, they've got like snowball fighting leagues, where literally 2 teams just pelt each other with ice snowballs. And some of the stuff that he finds along the way, I won't spoil it for you because it's well worth a watch. And I think there's only like 6 or 8 episodes, which by the end of it, I was ready to watch another 8 episodes of it with just him going around with his camera crew and stuff. And it's a good eye opener into different parts of the world and stuff. But no, I dig that sort of stuff. The other show that I've been watching on Apple TV Plus is Long Way Up. Oh,
which
yeah.
is the
new Ewan McGregor one. I've not seen that yet. I loved Long Way Down and Long Way Round, I think, were the two we did before.
That's it. So they're going from like the tip of South America up to LA this one. Yeah. So it's lots of... and the other thing is they're doing it all in electric vehicles.
Holy cow.
So it's 15 years since they did the last one. And they're doing... they're using these
15
prototype...
15 years?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, or it might be since the first one. Long Way Down was the last one, wasn't it?
Yeah. Or was it Long Way Round?
Long Way Down was 2007.
Holy shit. Okay.
Yeah. I know. It's scary. Yeah, no, the first one they did was 2005.
Oh,
and they did it on Sky then. But yeah, this one's on Apple TV Plus. And yeah, they're doing it on these prototype Harley Davidson bikes.
Oh, the Livewire ones, I think. Were they the... Because there's the... sorry, I'm not really a biker, but I've seen them pop up on Facebook.
Never mind.
They've got
two wheels.
Harley have got this new sort of like hybrid electric bike. I think it's called Livewire or something. So this would be
these are fully electric.
Oh yeah, okay, this must be it then, probably.
It's all prototype stuff. They've got this other company doing these sort of electric off-road vehicles that carry the film crew and stuff around. But yeah, like they find it really difficult with the way that these bikes how they hold their charge. Like, you know, they're in these really cold areas and they're just simply not able to hold a charge. So they even set up along the route like a plug-in architecture that will be the show's legacy. They say it on the show, so people will be able to do that route again using those stops if they want. But a lot of the time they get really fucked in the middle of nowhere. They end up going into little houses and stuff asking if they can charge.
Holy crap.
So it's quite an adventure. Like, they've had that extra wrinkle to it.
I think that's the challenge, because you'd think the distance wouldn't be quite so hard, but obviously they've kind of calculated it. They've cycled around the world or across the world, and then they've cycled, like, I think from the UK. Well, not cycled, biked from the UK down to, I think it was like the base of Africa or something like that, for a long way down.
Yeah,
and then I guess if you're travelling through continental America, or just make it electric bikes, because
so that's cool.
That sounds really good. I'll have to try and catch that.
I think they stretched it out to 11 episodes on this series, but I'm really enjoying it. Like, it's just been quite nice being cooped up at home and being able to sort of vicariously travel along with these guys all over the world and stuff. So it's good. So that's the only other thing I've watched on Apple TV Plus yet so far. But obviously other streaming services are available. The only other new one that I've got is bloody Britbox for the new Spitting Image, which I figured if I was going to watch it, and I used to love that show back in the day, if I was going to watch it, you have to watch it while it's on, because the jokes they're doing are that weak. Yeah. So if you are, like, paying attention to the horror of the news, then the only thing I will say is, you know, Spitting Image is as satire, or as satirical as satire gets. We don't really need that at the moment, you know, you could say. I mean, one, not only are they the biggest bunch of fucking buffoons in office right now, but we don't necessarily need to be reminded, even in a humorous way, of what is going on out there.
Yeah. It's almost like, you know, they say truth is stranger than fiction, or you really couldn't write this. It's like not so much that they're making up material and exaggerating it. They're just almost taking a sideways look at it, because it's so horrendously ridiculous and over the top in reality that they just have to put a twisted slant on it and just...
Yeah. I mean, some of the stuff they do with like Kanye West and stuff, I just automatically just tune out and start looking at my phone. But the stuff with Trump is quite funny. I think Dominic Cummings is the absolute piece de resistance. Like, they've made him into like some alien who's like sort of got mind control. Because how on earth else was he supposed to keep his job? Like, how come Boris didn't fire him? For fuck's sake. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, this is the joy of Spitting Image, though. It's bringing all of this stuff that people wouldn't be interested in or it was meant to bring it to the mainstream, so that, you know, people of certain age will just watch it and laugh, but also you learn and you're aware, because it's not fiction, because that's the whole point of satire. The reason why you don't get sued is because it's reality and it's truth, but you just point out how ridiculous it is. Which is a shame it's on Britbox. It would be nice if it would have came back to ITV. It's home.
Well, yeah, that's it. I mean, it will never have the same take-up. As soon as I told people, oh, it's on another streaming thing, people just tune out. Like, they're just not interested in having. I mean, like, you know, you aren't keeping all these things going. I have to keep setting reminders of when to cancel them all.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's like, oh, I've got billed another 10 quid. And it's like, I'm not watching this. I can't wait for Now TV to stop. But speaking of Now TV, I did watch, I am watching a couple of things on there that I'm waiting to end. The first one that has ended is The Third Day with Jude Law, that I think you've watched a bit of. Yeah.
I've seen the was it 3 episodes? Jude Law arc. I don't know where it goes from there. Because it looked like it was a second person coming to the island and a second story, so we kind of paused it for there. After the whole boat incident and the handing of the torch.
Yeah. So like there was a whole. There's the 3 episodes with Jude Law.
Yeah.
And then in the middle of it, this is all set on Osey Island, which is just off the coast of Malden in Essex. It's about a 45-minute drive from us.
Yeah, I know.
Which is bizarre. And he's gone. What's he looking for his son or something?
No, he's he goes and visits the spot where his son's body was found.
That's it.
Because his son died tragically. But I like how initially you find out he's not this squeaky clean character, because you always get that in these shows where the person is just a guy with a moral centre. And he goes in, and all the people are weird, and it all kicks off from there. And, you know, the main character is always just a guy. And right from the start, you find out that he's involved in some sort of bribery, and, it's not it's not spoiling the plot, but you do find out he isn't this squeaky clean character, and there is something that's gone on. And it's just really nice that he... And then but basically the story goes that he sees this girl, an incident happens, and he, takes back to the island. And then, for some reason his weird paternal instinct, maybe because it's the day of his son's anniversary death, kicks in, and he ends up staying in this pub. And the place they're in kind of reminds me of a weird cross between the village in... Hot Fuzz and the community in the the Wicker Man, or Midsummer. It's that sort of immediate vibe that you get from the people.
Yeah, I think Hot Fuzz was directly inspired by Wicker Man.
Yeah.
It's almost a trope now.
Yeah,
these kind of weird sort of communities where something's something's a bit wrong.
It's the smiley kind of almost placid characters, like the pub landlord, who's very much, that's a shame. You've missed the boat. All the lines are out. You're going to have to stay. He's not threatening you, but he's not exactly welcoming. And there's an uneasy sort of grey area in between that he sort of fits in.
Yeah. What's it called? The road between... To get what's it called?
I can't remember. It's a causeway, isn't it? And it gets flooded, and
causeway.
And it just sort of basically low tide. You can only access the island. It's kind of like St Michael's Mound in sort of Cornwall area, where when the tide comes in,
Yeah, it's like an underwater road that you can only access at certain times of the day. Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So the most audacious thing about this show was that kind of in the middle of it, they had planned to have a proper festival that you could actually pay and go to.
Oh wow!
However, because of fucking coronavirus, they couldn't do it. So they had to scale down their plans, but they still involved this sort of performance art agency to create this sort of live 24-hour long episode, which they put on Now TV sort of after the fact.
Oh, okay.
As a sort of hour and a half highlights reel of this live performance art, which included Jude Law and most of the main actors. Yeah, no, it's nuts. And I watched that in the middle. It's actually like episode 7 on Now TV. But I watched that in the middle, and then I watched the second half. And, yeah, I won't spoil anything except to say it all kind of...
I'm glad you said that, because I looked through the episodes and I saw that. I didn't read it, but I saw that. I was thinking, how many are there? And then that came up and I went, what, a live discussion? What the hell? I was like, did something happen to the cast while they were there or something? And it kind of got my interest. No. I thought, oh God, did it get a bit too real?
Yeah. No, it's completely bizarre what they did, but it's well worth finishing off because it does come to a pretty good conclusion. And it helped watching in that order because otherwise it would have just been like some weird, quite slow hour and a half sort of flashback. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's live, it's not scripted as such.
Yeah.
So some of it's quite hard going, but I think it helps if you've at least watched the first 3 episodes.
Okay.
But yeah, like, I don't know, just whack it on when you're having dinner or something. It's some of it's like watching paint dry, but you know, it gives you an idea of what happened in the time between, you know, the first and the 2 halves of it. Yeah. Because it is definitely like a show of 2 halves. You were right to choose that point.
Because it was weird, because we were 3 episodes in, and then we were like, this story feels finished. How are there more episodes? This makes 0 sense.
Yeah, and it's sort of like, it's from a different perspective as well. So,
I figured.
It does feel like, definitely 2 parts to it. But anyway... so that's the 3rd day. The other show I've been watching on Now TV is Warrior, which is the 2nd and final season of the show based on the writings of Bruce Lee, I think.
Yeah, I'm still yet to catch this. I've been pathetic, to be honest, because it's something that's very close to my heart, and I just haven't got around to it. So I might have to stick it on. What would you say it's on Now TV, or...?
It's all on Now TV at the moment. Not sure how much longer because they do have a bit of a time limit on those.
Yeah, I might have to stick that on when I'm working.
Yeah, it's been quite good so far. They just had the first season had an episode because it's all sort of set in like San Francisco, like in the late 1800s, and it's all very much like gangsters and stuff, and there's like underground fight clubs. But there was an episode in the first season that kind of went out of town and went a bit Wild West. Okay. And they had one of those last week as well that kind of centered around this tournament. And it was almost like a little... To be honest, right, it was one of those little one-off episodes. I think had the show not been cancelled, I think they could have spanned things out quite a lot longer. It felt a little abrupt, like a little bit of a self-contained little movie. But it's cool that the show kind of had those ambitions. You can sort of see it. But, it all felt very, very quick. So I think that they obviously had a few sort of plot strands that they wanted to do, and they just sort of wanted to finish them up as quickly as possible. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if this back half of the season is fairly definitive in terms of body count and, you know, who actually comes out alive. Yeah. So, I wouldn't be at all surprised. So, but it's been really good. It's shown, I think this honestly had legs, but I think the reason for it is basically Cinemax has been sort of rolled into HBO Max in the States.
Yeah.
And so I think that Cinemax as a brand has kind of just finished. And this was the last show under that label. So, yeah, that's Warrior. But yeah, definitely one to check out, even if it's only 2 seasons. It's probably good for you. It won't take so long for you to get through it all.
Should we address the ghost in the corner rather than the elephant in the room?
Yeah, I think this is probably the last one we'll talk about today. But yeah, the Haunting of Bly Manor on Netflix. Yeah. Look how long it's taken us to mention a show on Netflix.
I know. It's too much other stuff.
Well,
it used to be like the be-all and end-all, but now it's one of many.
Well, there are only so many production companies, and even though a lot of things that might go on Netflix, quite often are produced by Sony or Warner Brothers or someone else. So I feel like it's just like the pie is getting split into lots of little pieces.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, I'm hoping to cancel some of these fucking services soon, but right now they're all having a go, and I don't blame them, given the world in the state it's in right now. But anyway, yeah, The Haunting of Bly Manor. This is the follow-up to The Haunting of Hill House, which was created by Mike Flanagan. Now, he's only done the first episode of this new season, but it does include many of the same actors and actresses.
Yeah. See, I had forgotten who was who in what. So when I watched it, and Sue's immediately had gone, "Oh, that's that person playing that," and I'm like, "Okay, I don't remember at all." So it's like Nell was now the nanny, but blonde.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't remember at all. But I really liked the story of it. It's kind of strange because I really like it, Haunting of Bly Manor, and I won't speak badly of it, but there was an element in there that really threw me, and it was... has it been that long enough that we could talk about it?
This is the last thing we're going to talk about, so yeah, tune out now if you don't want spoilers.
Yeah. Okay, spoiler alert. The part where they talk about who the faceless person is, and that whole backstory... the 2 sisters.
Oh yeah.
Yep, that felt like another series. Like I wanted to know. That felt like that could have been a 3rd series, like about the house, as that should have been like the story of the house. And the way that it kind of delved into that, I found that a little bit more intriguing. And the story, and it went, the fact that she died and her will to carry on kept her alive and stuff, and it felt like it went on for a few episodes, even though it must have only been, 1 or 2, maybe. And it was that little story of who the person is, and it also reveals secrets on who 1 or 2 of the other people are as well. I felt that was like almost like it did an Inception, but went and told a separate story, which was linked to the house, and then by the time you come back, I felt it had taken me out of the initial story. Yeah,
I think basically that sort of little mini flashback episode is what the core of the show is based on.
Yeah,
it's called a book called The Turn of the Screw, and that's what that bit is about. And so the rest, I think there's also some other stories from the same author in this show.
Okay.
And there's some other stuff span into it. So it is a bit of a patchwork.
Yeah.
Compared to the last season, which just took the one story and kind of but took that sort of 2-generation conceit that's in a lot of Stephen King stuff.
It's really weird.
Span that out.
It's really weird because we watched it, and I mean, this is not intending to be a disrespect to the creators at all, but it felt like we'd watched them in a different order, whereas Bly Manor felt a softer story, almost like you're going in, you need a story that's slightly scary, the whole idea of her being in the closet, her fiance appearing in the mirror with the glasses and everything, that really genuinely chilled me every time. That really freaked me out. You didn't really see what happened because it was the whole part where they have this discussion and he turns up at the bonfire and she just goes, "It's just me and you now." And then that's it. That ends. You see the reason why he is the way he is, and you see the flashback and everything and the story, her backstory with him. I think he's called the Soldier or something. But after
Which
that
one's
point,
the Soldier? Sorry,
it's the guy with the glasses, her fiance. I think he's called the Soldier.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when he turns up and he's got the reflective glasses and stuff, and you see why that happens and how he's at that point. But the part where they're all around the bonfire and she's the only one left there, and he turns up and she goes, "It's just me and you," or something like that, and you expect there to be some sort of resolution or some sort of dialogue, and there isn't, and it just ends, and that's it. She carries on and he's no longer there. He's done as the story. It's intriguing because that kind of looking back, I was a bit like and then we watched Hill House afterwards again, and it felt like Bly Manor was when you do your first story and you're kind of trying to find a way to make the elements fit and everything, and it worked really well, and it's a love story. But so is Hill House when you look at it. It is a love story, like with the parents.
Yeah, well, that's what ghost stories often are.
And the story of different types of love. You've got like the love between Nell and God, I can't remember the guy, the junkie. And I forgot that they were twins and the whole story. And when you watch that, you realise this feels like once you've done the first draft, then you go through and you kind of go, "I'm going to refine it, and this is going to be my definitive work," which is odd that it came first.
Yeah, well, you know. Like I say, I think there were a few extra cooks to get this one out the door.
Okay,
and so that's all I can think is the problem. But I still really got a lot out of it.
I loved it. The story of the housekeeper as well, where she, and then the little ticks and stuff, like feeling her neck and hearing the crick, and you're a bit like, "Oh, okay." Yeah. And her just dazing off, and then the way it leads into that, and it's just, that was brilliant. Sad, really heart-wrenching, but at the same time, brilliant. And
Hill House had that penny drop moment in the same episode, in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they went.
Well, they did that in a good way, because it was all about the twins, the 2 episodes, which I didn't realise first time round. They did them back to back. So the first time was about I want to say Alex, but I can't remember his character's name, the heroin recovery guy, and it was all about when he was in the hostel sort of thing, and he, his friend escapes and he goes after her, and the whole thing, and him being left there at the end, and he finds out. And then the following episode's about Nell, and I didn't realise I'd forgotten about that, because they're twins. It's back to back.
So you've rewatched Hill House?
Yeah, straight after it, we rewatched it. So I've seen that, I think 3 times now. Well, twice now for me, and Suze has seen it 3 times, and she still loved it. It's unheard of that Suze rewatches a show this many times.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite very good.
And she was like, "I'm up for watching it again and trying to find all the ghosts now."
Yeah, I mean, the problem for me is that I just remember too much of it.
Yeah, no, I remember it all now again, but it's just, I'm now looking for both of them, and we're going to do a ghost hunt watch to try and find them. I think with Bly Manor.
Also, I can't rewatch things.
Yeah.
Not unless there's like another season of it coming.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. I really enjoyed Hill House, and I remembered it, a lot of it, but I hadn't seen it since when we went to the woods. That was when I watched it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sort of the day we came back after that. I loved it at the time.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, yeah. In fact, you know what I thought of Bly Manor? I thought it was perfectly splendid.
Yeah. Perfectly splendid. God, how creepy.
Yeah.
I love how it started off as a kind of almost Mary Poppins joke, and I thought, are they taking the piss? Is this what they think English people are?
Yeah, she calls her Poppins, didn't she? The gardener.
and it just goes off from there, and it just keeps. I actually thought the story was really, really, really well done.
Yeah.
I can't wait for more, if there is more.
Yeah, I don't know. Netflix doesn't really do more than 2 of many things.
Except for its own weird shows, which get 1 billion episodes. Like,
yeah.
The amount of shows on there, I've seen it, it's like, how has this got 5 seasons? Go away.
Well, they give The Crown. The Crown's probably the longest running one, but I think it would just be a travesty if they didn't finish it. Yeah, oh God, I even forgot to mention that. Bloody hell. Sorry, yeah, The Crown. Season 4 of that's pretty good with Gillian Anderson as Maggie Thatcher, and
that's going to be difficult.
Tells the Charles and Diana story, and that is an impeccable show. I'll probably be talking about that when we talk about our shows of the year. So I'll say
definitely.
You the trouble.
I've got to catch up on season 3 and 4 of that. But,
yeah, I mean, you can watch them in any order, really, because it's all just history.
It's one of those shows where I forget about it, and then I go and watch it, and I go, why aren't I watching this? Why have I not been watching this? And it just immediately pulls you in, and you're immediately invested within an episode, and you're immediately back. And it's just so good. And
I totally binged it.
Yeah.
I binged it all last week.
Nice.
All right, then. Okay, we'll call it there for now, I think. We'll be back, I think, early next year once we've decided what was the best stuff in an otherwise pretty horrid year.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll be back to talk about that. Maybe even some Wonder Woman 1985.
Yeah, I hope so.
Or 1984, whatever.
Yeah, 84, I think, I hope so, to be honest, because this has just been dire.
Definitely.
You know, it's just been what? Why? It's like the rubbishest dystopian future. You know, normally there's some kind of excitement or anything. This is just like the paint drying version of a dystopian future.
Yeah, no zombies, but certainly is ending a lot of lives.
I think we're all zombieing out, to be honest. Anyway,
it's turning us all into zombies. Yeah. Cool.
On that happy bombshell, shall we?
Yeah. Thanks for listening to the Not Watching Podcast, part of the Not Listening Podcast Network, where you can also find the Not Playing Podcast, where we talk about video games, and the Not Listening Podcast, where you can hear Adam and Co. talk about all kinds of nonsensical nonsense. You can email us at notwatchingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet out or follow us on Twitter at notwatchingpod. You can find the show notes for all our shows at notlistening.co.uk, and if you like what you've heard here, please do leave us a review. Anyway, that's all for now. Until next time, stay safe out there.
It's so clear, accepting an ocean's depths for our